All right. Let's try to do. Let's try this. The square root of 8, a to the 16th.
That's right.
What would you do with the square root of 8, a to the 16th? Or 8x to the 16th?
Just square both of them.
Square both of
Oh,
them?
well, yeah.
Because squaring and the square root are not the same operation.
Well, this one has 4 in it, so you have the 4 and then the x two left over.
So I could factor this as 4 times 2, right?
Yeah. Well,
Why would I-
factor that square.
Why would I factor that?
Because you have it's not a perfect square, 8. Is not.
When I'm looking at this as the square root of 8, that guy's not a perfect square, so I have to factor him. Bless you.
You can factor, you can square 4.
I
Well,
don't want to square
how do you
4.
say that?
4 is a square.
Yeah.
I'm not squaring it. I identify it as a square. What would you have squared to get 4?
2.
2.
Okay.
So the square root of 4 is 2, but what's the factor that stays inside?
2.
2. Now when I look at the x to the 16th,
It's actually
since it's an exponent, you get to divide it by the index. You have to be able to identify the difference between a coefficient and an exponent. The exponent divided by the index gives you what? X to the 8th. See, you want to make sure that you have anything that comes out of the radical needs to be written in the front. That way it doesn't get confused with being inside the radical. For example, if you wrote this, that is just incredibly terrifying to see. Because I know the way that some students write their radicals, you don't stop where you're supposed to stop. So to eliminate any cases of ambiguity, we write everything that comes out of the radical in front, and the leftover stuff goes inside. Okay? Now,
You're basically pulling out how do you get the 2x again? You're basically pulling that off the
the
square.
2 comes from the square root of 4. Remember? 8 is 4 times 2. The square root of 4 is 2.
Okay.
You look at me like you don't understand that the square root of 4 is 2. Isn't it? If I just did this guy right here, the square root of 8 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, right?
Yeah, you gotta keep doing it like that, 'cause that way.
I'm not going to do it that way.
Excuse me?
If you need to do it, then you can do it that way. I don't have time for that.
Well, I'm just saying so people can see it, and they continue to see it, they'll get it better. I'm just saying some people are visual learners.
That's right.
They have to see.
And they need to be
stuff.
writing that down.
No, we can't write something down. You're not writing it right.
So stuff.
It'd be useless.
So let's try something else, though. What if I had this not as the square root, but as the cube root? Is it the same answer? Is it the same?
Well, no.
Because 8's a perfect cube.
Yeah.
What's the cube root of 8?
2.
Do I need to write that down?
No, just break it out on the outside right there.
You look right here?
Right on the inside. Right.
Oh, okay.
No, on the outside.
Why should that be on the inside?
Okay.
We need to understand. We need to understand something right now. The cube root of 8 is not the same as saying the cube root of 2. Do we know that? The cube root of 8 is 2. Free and clear, right? So that's why the 2 is written out here. This is a product of 8 times x to the 16th.
So in other words, if it's a coefficient, then it's always going to be on the outside of the square root. Right. So kind of.
If it simplifies to come out of the radical, then yes. Because if this had been, say, 5, you wouldn't bring anything out. because 5 is not a perfect cube.
When I say myself, I'm wanting to factor this out like I would,
Yeah.
polynomial or whatever.
Right. When you have a coefficient, you look at that in terms of its factors, how it would break down. 8 would break down as 2 times 2 times 2. You've got 3 factors of 2, that's why you get one of those guys on the outside. When it comes to exponents, though, the rules are a little bit different. They're usually a little bit easier, because I just have to take this exponent and divide it by the index. So what do I get there?
5. X to the 5th.
So I have x to the 5th, but I still have some stuff left over, right?
Ready? They're thinking you put 3 on the outside.
What's this called?
The index is 3.
It's called the cube root.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you get the 5th from
It's
again?
right there. X is in the middle.
Oh.
And I get one factor of x left over, right?
Yes.
Because 3 goes into 16 5 times with 1 left over. Everything that we're doing right here is all about multiplication. Are you guys with me on that?
You have to divide a lot.
Well, yeah. You know, yeah, let's make it a little bigger. If I have 700x to the 301st, y to the 7th.
And it's understood too right there.
This is a square root. Is 700 a perfect square?
We don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Yes, 350. Oh, no.
350
No, I thought
times
about
350 would
A
be
huge number.
122,500.
Did you really have to go there?
You know I'm right. You can type it in.
35.
Yeah,
It's 35 times 35.
1,225.
35 times 35?
It's really easy to square 2-digit numbers that end in 5. There's a trick to it. But see, you can't divide 700 by 2. Is 700 an exponent?
No.
Then why are you dividing by the index? Did I tell you to do that? No. When it's coefficient, you got to factor it out. How do you want to break down 700?
Oh my God. 7 times 10.
They're saying it, not me.
We all see it too. We're confident.
It's 7 times 100. If you have $700, what you got? I got 7 bills. I got 7 Benjamins. I got, whatever.
Got rent.
Only $700? Oh, you live on.
Well,
He's
That's with money to eat,
I was going to say, never mind.
including my back.
So I'm going to stop here because this is a perfect square, right?
Yes.
Since some of you don't like the way I'm writing this, this is the square root of 7 times the square root of 100, right?
Yes.
What's the square root of 100?
10.
10, and I have 7 left inside. Do you all agree? Let's finish the rest of this. Do not misuse that name. It is not an expletive. Now,
I might say, well, help me.
Now we have exponents, so what can I do there?
Okay.
It's not gonna go in 2 even.
Well, then how many times would it go in there? Because
150 with 1 left over.
it goes in 150 times with 1 factor of x left over. What about the y's?
3 times with 1 left over.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And we're done. I didn't need to put this multiplication symbol there, but sometimes I do because it kind of clears things up a little bit. What do you guys think about that one?